Hi, this is George Moore, owner of Moore's Sewing Center in Southern California, and it's time for our September virtual Sew Fun Club. Now, you should be used to this by now. What happens is that we have show and tell, and where you all can participate and have a chance to win a prize. How are you going to participate? Well, after this video is published on the text line, you can actually post your photos of your projects, both current or past, or even in progress. And for everybody that posts it at the end of the month, actually more middle of the month, we will pick a draw from the people that post, and we're going to give away one of these coveted Floriani gift packs that has a value of $499. This is full of thread and designs and all kinds of goodies. And so, but we want to also see what you're doing. So this is what's exciting about all of us taking part in this here. So we just got done last week with, or last month with the tech parties, and a lot of response, and everybody's excited about it. I had more to show, and so I decided that this Sew Fun Club, I'm going to show a few of the machines that I didn't have a chance to demonstrate during tech party, but I'm going to focus on some of the more inexpensive machines. And so I have 4 different models I want to show, but before I do that, I have a show and tell. And so let me go ahead and show you my show and tell. So in one of the demonstrations of the Baby Lock Celebrate, actually, I showed the serger crochet, and I had more people ask, how did I create that? And actually it was one of my daughters that helped me with it. So I'm actually going to demonstrate here. See how beautiful that is there? That is done with a Floriani 12-weight thread and the Baby Lock Celebrate, but it's any of the Baby Lock upper model machines, air threading sergers. They have a patented feature that forms the chain outside, where it's actually the chain finger, the stitch finger is separate from the cutting, so you actually can form it and sew off the fabric and keep the chain. So I'm going to show you that. And I also just did an edge here, but I did this quickly so you can see the sample here, so that I'm going to actually demonstrate here. So let's go and let's demonstrate a couple of different machines. So this is the Baby Lock Joy, and we just got a shipment of these machines in. This is a machine that generally sells for $399. That's the retail price. We have it on sale for $199, and that can be shipped free of charge shipping across the country. A little extra if you're in Alaska or Hawaii, but we will ship to you. But why I want to show this here is that so many people are looking for basic machines. They're using a machine, or they're trying to use a machine to make masks, or they're getting into sewing that they've had for a long time. Now I want to look at this machine over to the left here. This is an example. It's an old Kenmore. Many people have it, but it's an example of, I would say, 80% of the basic machines ever used, they have this bobbin system. And the problem is this requires you to be perfect. If you don't hold the threads back just right, if you thread it wrong, what happens, everything jams in here, and you take it apart to unjam it, and then you have to put the whole thing back together. Because anybody has, I'm sure a lot of people have had that happen, and it becomes very frustrating. So what I want to show on this Baby Lock Joy, first of all, it has just your essentials. You have a built-in buttonhole, you have stretch stitches, overlock stitches, but the heart of this machine is a non-jamming bobbin system. It's a rotary system that's always going the same direction, and it's held in place by a magnet, and so that there's nothing for the threads to catch on here. So first of all, when you hear this, it's very smooth. Okay, but I am going to make this jam, and I'm going to do that by sabotaging this. Most of you don't have to sabotage your machine at home to do this. What I'm going to do is actually pull some thread out, and we're going to take it and unthread this top part here. So let's see if I can unthread it here. I may just have to rethread it and unthread here. Okay, so I'm going to unthread this take-up lever. Okay, so now it is going to jam, and I just told you that it's jam-free. Well, the whole thing about this is that, I want to make sure that it's here. Okay, so the whole thing about this is that, give me a machine, I'll jam it. When I mean jamming, I mean it catches in the mechanism. Remember this machine over here that I took apart? That's because the thread will catch in the mechanism. Now, you will hear this make a lot of noise, and you've never seen a demonstration like this where you purposely will see a person try to jam it. So when we sew on this, see how it's jamming up? I want to go a little further. I want this to really feel. So you hear that noise? Has that happened to you? But see, the difference on this is that the mechanism's designed where all that thread now is with the fabric. It's not in the mechanism. See that? The benefit there is that I still have to thread this right. In fact, let's go ahead and rethread this. I'll just simply take this up here and rethread the top. Okay. So I cured the problem. But see, the problem is with other machines, sometimes if you jam it, it's going to mechanically fail and you have to have it adjusted. This right here, I rethreaded it, and then now let's see what happens. So you got all the thread, the loops from before. It's perfect. So I didn't have to take the machine apart. That mechanism doesn't require lubrication. It will work the same year after year. In fact, a lot of people are discovering that their machines that were sitting for many years without use are not working properly because they needed lubrication. This one will work the same all the time. It does not require lubrication. Now, what else can this have? Here's one, that's actually 2 layers of denim, 4, 6, 8 layers of denim. This is a machine that is on sale right now while we have it in stock for $199. Look at that. It just powers through that. And then let's go right to some sheer fabric. And so right off and see, I'm just chaining right off the fabric. That's a beautiful job. It has an automatic needle threader. It threads this needle. It's got a buttonhole, stretch stitches. So if you're looking for a basic machine, you're looking for a second machine, you're looking for a machine for your child, a new sewer, this is a great deal. Right now, click on the link, $199. These will go fast, and so you want to order this quickly because these have been on back order for about 3 months. And so we finally got our shipment in and they're selling quickly here. So that's the Baby Lock Joy. Now let's go on to the next one. So we're going to come back a little bit here. This is, I talk to so many people on the phone and they say, I just want a basic machine, but I need a large opening. Well, that's the Baby Lock Jazz 2. It has a 12-inch opening, okay? And so it offers also more than just a straight stitch. A lot of your machines with a big opening have just a straight stitch. So this has actually has 28 built-in stitches on the top here. And so these stitches sew, and they sew at high speeds, up to 1,000 stitches per minute, where a lot of your machines, when you sew, it only goes the fastest on a straight stitch. So this right here has it where all these stitches can go up to the 1,000 stitches per minute. It has a one-step buttonhole, and what this does for you, it sizes it automatically, so that's wonderful. But let's go ahead and go look at the bed here again. Still, the wonderful thing is the 12 inches of space, and what you see here, this is a knee lift. And so I'm going to attach this right here on the machine, and I'll show you how that works later. But so this right here, a lot of people, they need more room to do free motion, and this machine comes with the free motion foot, and it gives you the ability to move freely without having the fabric interfere from the sides, because you have all this volume to work with here, and so you can develop your free motion skills in stippling. But also, one thing it does have is it does have a programmable needle up and down feature, okay? And so you can control the needle up and down, and so let's zoom in on this here so you can see I have it set for down. Okay, and so my hands are on the fabric, okay? I'm sewing away, and I want to end needle down, but now I use my knee lift. So my hands are here. The knee lift is what raises that so you can turn it. So that's the benefit of a knee lift. Now these are features that we would normally see on machines that are very, very expensive, okay? $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to get 12 inches of space. This machine is $1,299 normally. Right now, I have them in stock. Just got my shipment for $699, free shipping across the country. Alaska or Hawaii is slightly extra in shipping. This is the machine if you need more space for your quilting, for bulky fabric. This is an amazing value. It has really, people are looking for just good, solid mechanical machines, and this is the Jazz 2 is the machine for you. So let's go on to the next one. So this is a Janome model, the Fa4. Okay, this is an exceptional value. If you see on Janome's website, it says a retail value of $899. It's worth that. I'll talk about the special we have shortly on it, but this machine is a solid serger. The FA stands for free arm. Okay, so it does have a free arm. Not a lot of sergers have a free arm. It also has the full adjustments of the width. You can lower the blade out of the way, and it has an instant rolled edge. On the side here, you have your differential feed. The differential feed can be used for gathering or stretching the fabric and your length. So everything's on the outside. And what I like about here, it has consistent tensions. I'm going to do all my sewing on number 3, on all 4 of them, so I don't have to guess on the tensions. Now, it doesn't mean I'll never adjust that, but that's my home base, so I'm not afraid of doing this. Now, why a serger? So let's come back here and see what a serger does. A serger, what it does, it forms a seam with a chain. And the chain is what encases the fabric here. So what you see here, it's much more efficient. This is trimming the fabric here and sewing the seam all in one step. This would cut your sewing time in half. Now I love this here. It has this nice easy cutter right here, so I have that nice tail. But see, this gives me a beautiful stitch. It's perfectly balanced. But right there, there's my, well, I should have turned it inside out, but actually I like the inside of that fabric. See, on a sewing machine, you would have to sew a seam, then come back and finish the edge. So think about making masks or projects. That's why you need a serger. But the problem is people don't buy a good enough quality serger. This has features like everything is color-coded for threading, but it also has a self-threading device here for the lower looper. I press this lever here, and it has a little eye that put the thread in, and it threads the looper automatically. You don't see that on a lot of machines. Now, let's go back to the sewing of this here, because I want to show another benefit of this. This right here is t-shirt knit that's very difficult to work with, very stretchy, and then here's some ribbing. And so what I'm going to do here is we're going to take this, and this again, a sewing machine has a hard time sewing this, but this machine, the stretch is in the stitch. So as you see, this is sewing, trimming off the edge, sewing the seam, finishing the edge, and it's very solid. It's a very solid serger, and that's a beautiful stitch. How nice that is. Now, let's do a rolled edge like you would see on napkins. Right now I'm using 4 threads. That's 2 needles and 2 loopers. So I want to remove one of my needles, my outside needle. So it's going to do a narrow 3 thread. Okay, and I'll go ahead and just take that thread out. And by the way, when I release the presser foot up, the tension's released, so it makes it nice. Now, this right here actually has it where all I have to do a rolled edge is pull this lever. I don't have to change a plate or anything. And what I really like about this, because I want to go closer together, and as a marking here that says R for rolled edge. But right here it says standard or rolled, RH for rolled edge. It's an instant tension adjustment. I don't have to adjust the tension. And so what that does for me, that makes it so that I don't have to guess. And so what this offers me is a beautiful rolled edge. And what you see here is just perfectly formed. I can go closer if I want. The tension's automatic. Now, this machine retails for $899. I can't tell you the price. Janome won't let me put it in print, but I will tell you it's more than a 50% savings. So here's a number to call, 1-800-865-9664. And if you want this machine, we've got a few of them at a special buy. We'll let you know. This, again, the whole theme of this here is high quality at more economical price ranges. Now, last but not least, we have the Baby Lock Celebrate. We're celebrating because we just got these back in stock. These have been our #1 selling serger. This is an air threading serger. So you put the thread in the port here. It has what's called tubular loopers. So you line up the loopers, they lock in place. You put the thread in the port, and it threads it automatically through the loopers. It also has an automatic needle threader. With the differential feed that it has here, you can control and sew denim fabrics, knit fabrics, elastic, you name it. It has an instant rolled edge just by turning this dial right here, and you can turn and do an instant rolled edge. But I want to show you my serger crochet. And what's unique about this is that the way the stitch is formed, okay? Right here, okay? So it has a stitch finger that is separate. It actually is adjusting the width of the stitch separately from the cutting blade. And that's what's unique about this, because what's going to happen when I do serger crochet, I'm actually going to get this started here, and I'm going to do this with that exposed so you can see it on the camera. I'm going to sew on this where I'm only catching half of the fabric on the half of the thread on the fabric right there. So you can see it's just sewing. I'm actually catching only about, not quite a 1/4 inch, maybe 1/8 of an inch of the fabric. The rest of it is off the edge of the fabric. So as I sew with this, and I can see this here, and I'm sewing with this open for that purpose, because people ask me to show them serger crochet. So I'm sewing down the edge, and you can see this is supporting the chain, so it's actually not on the fabric. And that's because of the patented feature that Baby Lock has in the stitch forming mechanism. So what I do is I come down here, I sew off the edge. Now with serger crochet, the very first stitch, see how that's looping there? That's purposely done that way because we're going to crochet. But you have to start with something to anchor it. And I've got that fabric is anchoring the stitch. So now what I do is I come back, and I'm going to, now that you see how it formed, I'm going to come back here, and we're going to show you. I'm now going to stitch only on the chain, not the fabric. So I have to catch the needle on the chain, and let's see if you can see that from that side here, because I'm not cutting the fabric. So what's happening is I'm going to actually just take this, and I'm sewing on that chain, and it still has this forming its next chain. So this is stitching, catching the first chain, and that's my second one. So what happens is now I sew down this row all the way off the edge. So now what do we have here? We have 2 rows. We're going to do this a couple times so you can see I'm building the crochet. So I can take this here and do another one. I come into it. You just want to catch now row number 2. And the thing is, you can actually increase the amount of ruffle by changing the stitch length. So you can really have fun with this here. We're going to do just a couple more rows here. And again, I normally don't sew with this open. I have this open for you to see. So now I'm using the Floriani 12 weight thread. It's thicker. You should use a thicker thread to really show this off here. See how that's forming that? So now let's do it again. But this time, I'm actually going to make my stitch length closer. What that's going to do is it's going to put more thread in a smaller area, and it's going to affect the way that's going to curl. I've also done it where it was longer. So I want you to see you really can have a lot of fun with this. So let's see what this looks like. So look what happened. By changing the stitch length closer, look what I did. I got all these beautiful ruffles. So I've done this where I've went 6, 7, 8 rows. I've done it with multicolor rows. That's serger crochet. But the whole thing about this is the Baby Lock serger, besides having the air threading, besides having other patents, it can do things like this. Now the Baby Lock Celebrate, we have on sale. Its retail price of the machine is $24.99. It's on sale for $9.99. While supplies last, I brought this back. This is a 30 spool set of the Floriani 30 weight thread. And there's so many beautiful things you can do with this thread. It has a retail value of over $178. Right now, it's free with the Baby Lock Celebrate. So you can click and order directly on the link here to the Sew Fun page and order this. But that's while supplies last, and those will go out very quickly. I hope you enjoyed our September Sew Fun Club. Don't forget to post your show and tell to win the prize, and just to communicate, put a little description of how you made or what you did or the story. We want to hear from you. This is what's great about the virtual sewing world is our customers, which I've always considered as part of my family, has expanded across the country. So I wish you all well, and bye for now. God bless.